Good morning. Well, it wasn't that bad out there, but it was sounded heavy rain when I got up or before I got up, and then we got up and got dressed in our severe rain gear. Went out, and it wasn't raining that hard. I could have really done a speech from there, but it was still dark, and it's still kind of dark out there, kind of gloomy. So, we're going to do it from the inside. So, get your cup of coffee, sit back and relax, and we'll have to do it next 3 days from here. Talk to you later in a moment. Bye. Okay, there's more fallout from Donald Trump's past life, and I still don't think the guy's suited for president or any elected office at this matter. However, we first have to take a look at what's the mudslinging that's going on. There is a child involved in this whole situation, and we have to take a look at this and what effect it's having on the child. We all talked yesterday about how the effect of his actions are taking place right across the country and in the States. But he has a 10-year-old kid. And no matter what school this child in, all the dirty laundry gets dragged out in front because the father is running for president. But that doesn't make it any easier on his child. Both children of both candidates are adults and, can deal with this. But a 10-year-old kid is not going to he's probably going to get ridiculed about this and, thinking it's okay. And so I think we've got to realize that kids are listening to this. And in some cases, parents are looking in on this and relaying, and in their conversations are talking about this. And we have to be aware of what we're saying to our children. And, each election, and it's happening up here in Canada, it's being acceptable to go after the person rather than his or her politics or policies. Now, when something this big comes along where he's mistreating more than half of the population, then, we have to look at this and seeing what it's worth. Now, in years past, any sexual parts being brought forward by women, it was okay just to sweep them under the carpet. And, I think now we've reached more to the point where it can't as easily be swept under the carpet. And first of all, if these statements are untrue, he has the right to go against them. But this is a message to Mr. Trump, and I'm sure Mr. Trump is watching this, that if these statements are true, you need to do the right thing. If they're not, I'm full behind you going against whoever wrote these comments and whoever brought these comments. Just bringing these comments because you're a member of the Democratic Party and this is the only way you see that you can go against and defeat Donald Trump. The topics that he used in the past were more than just locker room. I'm going to see if I can get permission And post the part from the BC Lions just about sexual abuse and not and about hurting someone physically. Now, I just found out on the news today that Donald Trump could walk in and pretty well inspect the girls in their dressing rooms before an event. That is idiotic. And just because he's the owner, you know, if it was the other way around and men, it may have not been as big thing. But if a female owner wanted to go inspect a bodybuilding while all the men were naked, the men would find that disgusting if it was Hillary. And because the men have pretty well dominated everything, you'd hear about it. But because it's the other side, we're going against fighting for the right. And, if Mr. Trump has assaulted women, he's not fit to be president. You're not fit to lead a country where half of your population, or even more, are female. You need to wake up and realize that your actions come back to haunt you. I don't care if it's yesterday. I don't care if it's the day before. But you need to do the right thing in the eyes of our kids. If you want to be president of the country, the U.S., or a prime minister of Canada, you need to pretty well have always had a spotless image. And you have to live up and own these images. He came up with an apology that really wasn't a heartfelt apology. Well, one side says it is and one side says it isn't. And I think that's, where we really get into these stories, things coming out, that it's teaching our boys that that's the correct way to behave to women. It's also that I believe he has a 10-year-old son, Byron. What thoughts is going to his mind? And, I think, we can defeat Trump by the press. Well, I think you really have to ensure that what you are printing is the truth, and that if any women think about coming ahead, you need to be ensured that you are bringing the truth about Trump. I still don't think that he is equipped to be president of the United States. But again, it's not my choice. But, this title, and they banded around again about leader of the free world. Well, he's not going to be my leader of the free world. And I think as Canadians, we have the right to say who we want to lead us. So, be careful in your actions. It may seem right to get someone not elected for president, but on the other hand, how much damage are we doing to our young people? And teaching that this isn't appropriate. But on the other hand, we need to teach our young kids that slander isn't appropriate, and doing something just for the sake of money isn't appropriate. It's something we really need to think about on how we present ourselves to our kids. I've always thought myself more a conservative angle, and, that yes, we need money to do all these wonderful programs and such. But, sometimes human values come into play too. So, I don't know really that a two-party system is the best party for the states. Having one position on everything isn't necessarily the best. Maybe we need to, or maybe the U.S. needs to incorporate a third party just to ensure that, equal representation right across the board, and that it's not so one party wins everything and we're all going to go so conservative, and then the next party wins something and we all go so conservative. Something to think about. As growing up, the big thing was to be able to go out on Halloween with the neighborhood kids. And you would pretty well go around the neighborhood, and if, you could go up onto Broadway and get candy. And now it seems the independence movement in our children is the younger and younger want to go out with going out alone with the kids. And nowadays, I don't know how safe that really is. More and more kids are going to places like shopping malls, and they're able to go, and their parents are able to walk in the mall, and they can kind of disown them. And this may be a better option than going door to door. We have to protect our children. Now, this goes along to what I was saying in the first one, but taking our kids out trick-or-treating, if you're able to stand on the sidewalk and they go up to the door, that's great. But as they get older and want their independence, having a whole bunch of kids on the street, kids don't necessarily make the best choices. Have you ever thought why they aren't allowed to vote in a federal or any election until they are 19, 18, whatever it is? Because children haven't learned how to make right and wrong decisions. Some people never learn this. But I think we really need to take back and let children have childhood. Let them go out trick-or-treating. Let them know you're going to be close by if anything happens. But, oh no, letting kids go crazy and letting them go, we'll take a few out. You don't have to hover over them, but you do need to have an adult choice. Now, years ago, and I'm talking, I don't know, I was 14. I was probably 15. I was in a different city and took some kids out trick-or-treating, and they wanted to go and set off dirt bombs or something in the schoolyard because all the kids were doing it. And I kind of said, well, do you really want that, or do you really want some candy? But you see, they would have tagged along, and what ended up is there were injuries, and so, like I said, kids being alone on Halloween isn't necessarily the greatest thing. And even teenagers don't always make the right move. It's what we do in teaching our kids on the day-to-day lives. Teaching them to know right from wrong. Bullying is wrong. Being nice and helping someone else is the right way to go. But we need to constantly train this into our individuals. I can remember years ago where the cable company, Rogers, used to get their vans out onto the streets and just patrol and making sure kids were safe, and kids knew that they could come up and get a couple of candies, and if they needed any, not comfort, but if they needed protection or were unsafe, they could get help. But I don't know if the current company does that. Last year, I kind of went out and rolled around and made sure that kids were safe, and I did find a couple just in our neighborhood that were having problems. So maybe, companies who have stores that stay open late on Halloween, I'm talking like 7-Eleven or gas stations or restaurants, that if a kid comes in on Halloween or any time asking for help, they should be able to get it. Now, I don't know whatever happened to the block parent program. These were families that were screened to be okay. And I remember as a kid, they used to have, it was like an index card that was painted fluorescent orange, and you could always go to that house and get help. But, I think as we've grown now, just because I'm out of that age group now, that may be a common thing. But, our kids, anyone under 18 years of age that need help, they can go to these places. And I think it's getting to the point where we need a program like that. And because kids nowadays, especially with this damn scary clown incident, we need to ensure, that our kids are taken care of. But do we? We send them out saying, oh, okay, we'll be home at such and such an hour. But sometimes, like in this neighborhood, a block parent doesn't really exist. There's no place, there's no sort of like house that kids can run to. And, I still think it's unsafe for kids to be out. And kids, I'm talking about youngsters, I'm talking about teenagers. It's better if they're run off in a group, but they all worry about the cool thing to do. Oh, well, yes, this is cool. If it's someone, oh, well, yes, let's pull a big prank on so and so. But, is it really, are we actually safe? Are we actually giving the message? And if a kid finds himself in danger, where are they to go to? Now, a lot of them have phones nowadays where they can call. But, with a lot of scary clowns out there and everything, I think most of the night, except when I have to get my socks, I'm going to be out there. I don't care what the age group is. The best sort of thing that can happen is that we have rain and, more people go to wanting to go out Halloweening, more kids. But the kids are all, they can go to Halloween parties. We're not for stopping trick-or-treating, but we're more for a controlled sort of trick-or-treating. And that we have to learn and teach these kids how to survive in a safe environment. That's right, that's my dog. And I don't think they're really fully trained each year when they go out. I think businesses need to take an active part. If you're open and a kid comes in asking for help, then take the action and call for a police officer. Don't just say, get off my lot. Halloween has gone from safe little tricks to where it's become more of, oh yes, let's scare them all and let's go after, chase after them and say they're going to kill them. And I've told this story before, but I was with a scout and I think we had to do orienteering and learning about walking. And there was some guy following us, throwing rocks at us and saying, oh, he was talking gibberish. Back then, he was about, I don't know, maybe early 20s. And we finally thought we were in danger. I don't know what ever came of the person, but we found a block parent. Sorry, we were talking about block parents, and we were able to get help. I think we really need to take a look at that and find out things in the apartment buildings that have a block that they put a little icon. I don't know, it could be a little orange circle, and to know that if kids come available, that they can go to these houses, ring these bells if they need help. I know we don't get rung bells like our front door thing to let people in on Halloween night. There's enough bangs and whistles and everything going off that, that's kind of boring. But, I think if we're able to teach our kids to look for the block parent sign or, getting a little orange icon that can be put on a person's door or entrance intercom to show that they're able to help kids. And I think block parent was a little bit ahead of their time, but now we sort of need to come back and to visit these things. Something to think about. Hi there. Sorry, my back was giving me trouble sitting there, so I'm just lying down. But I think, everyone's saying, oh, well, kids, we've got to do more for them. They're growing up terrible. But, I think we've got to show kids how to grow, how to learn, how to make proper decisions in life. And, not just saying, oh, well, let's lock them up. It doesn't really work well. I think we really need to take the time to be with our kids to teach them right from wrong. So it's worth doing. Talk to you later. Have a great day. Bye.